Have you ever went to get something to eat and then end up feeling sick? How about grab something quick on the go that immediately made you vomit? Or how about even eating something late that in the next morning gave you diarrhea? Have you ever? And then considered yourself having a stomach bug? Well, guess what? There's no such thing as a stomach bug. You had either a foodborne illness or was food poisoning or have food poisoning, which is microorganisms that are found in a variety of foods with a multitude of symptoms that could result in anywhere from an acute to a chronic disorderly or even death. The world suffers from food poisoning and it's been around since the beginning of time. Foodborne illness has been around since the beginning of time and was the cause of death to some historical figures in history. Alexander the Great, Salmonella, Mozart, trichinosis, and the Roman Empire had an outbreak due to lead-laced wine. These are some historical events that happened due to foodborne illness. The history of food regulation began with the Assize of Bread in 1785. During this era, food regulation was thought as a local concern, being left to the state, being left to the state and district, leaving limited action given from the federal government. From the 1800s to the 1900s, rapid changes took place in food technology and the techniques acquired to preserve food or hide or hinder the spoilage of food. The requirements of the inspection of meat products, the law required USDA through the Bureau of Chemistry and Bureau of Animal Industry BAI, which prevents the utilization of diseased animals for human consumption as well as animals. U.S. Congress passed the Federal Food and Drug Cosmic Act, which gives the FDA authority to issue food safety standards, among other authorities. Federal regulations of food began at a basic level in 1837. By 1862, President Lincoln created the Department of Agriculture. Then, after World War II, society got a shocking insight and became more concerned about food safety. Arthur Uptown Sinclair's book, The Jungle, exposed the filthy conditions of Chicago slaughterhouses. The Food and Drug Act of 1906, known as the Wiley Act, later became the Pure Food and Drug Act. These regulations were put in place for the protection of the consumer. The legal approaches of foodborne illness are based on the product liability law. This implies that the plaintiff has the burden of proof that their impairment or damage was due to its consumption. Even though there have been successful foodborne illness lawsuits, well documentation of contamination of the food to confirm the outbreak decreases possible complications. The responsible party has to be legally liable, stated in the state product liability laws. The product safety rule is for the protection of the public and the economic food system. This rule helps society in every part of the supply chain by ensuring safety and recognizing that food safety is a shared responsibility amongst all. The rules are designed for the specific actions that must be executed to prevent contamination and outbreaks. With these rules and regulations in place, it's an improvement to holding facilities accountable for the products they supply and how they have the duty to care. When that duty is breached because of negligence, the proximate causation protects the careless, dependent, and the plaintiff has to prove causation. This rule helps affected businesses because they are not negligent by default. The party bringing the suit has to show proof in order for the defendant to be liable. In many cases, substantial evidence is needed to be successful to receive the damages. This implies that companies will use due diligence when providing, serving, and storing handling of food that is for human consumption, ensuring that it is safe from any harm.